Good evening, Bonnie. Welcome to tonight's live stream. The Killers. Hope you had a great day today. Ooh. Almost made the whole thing disappear there. Trying to close another window. I almost closed this one. Ivory Lady, good evening. Welcome to tonight's live stream. Sal, good evening, Sal. Don't know if I'm here, how long you'll be here. Well, you popped in and said hello. Thank you very much, Sal. I hope you had a great week, though. Hope everybody had a great week. Gonna give it a couple more minutes and we'll see if anybody else joins us. I hope they do. I hope the entire world joins us. Get like 5 or 6 billion people in here. I'd be totally cool with that. And maybe it may add for a really interesting chat discussion. But the more the merrier. Good evening, Gemma. Good evening and welcome to tonight's live stream. Hope you had a great week. One more minute and then, well, thank you, Gemma. We love you too. 30 more seconds and then we're going to get this party started. Tonight, the basics of this is I'm going to present you with 3 suspects and all of the clues. You're trying to figure out between the 3 suspects, which one all these clues are for that killer. So I give you 15 clues, and it's going to be one of the 3 suspects. You're a little anxious and angry? I'm sorry, sweetheart. All right, let's get this going. This is the 2nd episode of The Killers. I had to change the name from The Killers Amongst Us because another creator reached out to me and complained that their live stream and quote unquote their friend wrote a book called The Killers Amongst Us. So I changed it to just The Killers. I'm tired of people that that just can't leave things alone. They have to complain about everything. There are 15 clues to identify the killer. All the clues come from the court records and the FBI. Head-to-head live on panel, but everyone plays in the comment section if we have players. And neither one of the 2 people who said that they wanted to be on tonight, to be on the panel, are here, and they have not messaged me back, so we're going to do this just like last week, where there will not be any players. Comment as we go if you think the killer, who you think the killer is. Clues may fit more than one killer, but yet ultimately only one killer in the end. We are playing for fun, so have fun. Use any means you want to figure out who done it. Ask a friend, ask the chat, phone a friend, Google it. None of it is cheating unless you say it's cheating. Would you like to play a game? Let's begin. The 3 suspects tonight are the following: Carl Watts, Rodney Alcala, and Pee Wee Gaskin. Pee Wee Gaskin is the 3rd one. You can barely see him behind my picture here, right here. It says Pee Wee Gaskin. But these are the 3 suspects for tonight. The first clue is This killer, the only killer of the three suspects to have murder charges dropped, then never refiled, even though there was more than enough evidence to convict. Which one of these three, again, Alcala, Watts, or Gaskin, does this clue fit to? All the clues are for one of these killers only, but can obviously meet for others. They can match other killers as well. Number 14. We count down from 15 to the final. The killer we are trying to identify was sexually aroused by teenage boys and girls, as he documented it in notebooks and in photos. Who is the killer? Is it Alcala, Watts, or Gaskin? Well, I'm certainly happy to see you too, Gemma. Next clue. Would you like to play a game? This killer played games. He would strangle his victim until they lost consciousness. Excuse me. Then wait until they came to and repeated the game over and over again. And ultimately they died from what he would do. But he would strangle them to the point where they lost consciousness and then wait for them to come back, and then he would do it again. Good evening, Lita. Welcome to tonight's live stream. Next clue. The killer we want to identify tonight was a gifted student in high school and college entrance test, yet went down a dark path instead. Is it Alcala, Watts, or Gaskin? Again, we're trying. All the clues are trying to identify one individual. Who do you think it might be? Alcala, Watts, or Gaskin? With our third clue. Again, Dilemma. Good evening and welcome. I hope you had a great week. Next question. Clue, I mean, like so many other killers, this killer kept trophies he actually called gifts from some victims. Not all, just the ones he really liked. Well, I'm glad you could be here with us tonight. Which one is it? Is it Alcala, Watts, or Gaskin, who collected trophies from each and every one, not all of his victims, but collected trophies from his victims, and he considered them gifts from the victim? Next clue. Boxers, briefs, or commando. This killer was a boxer man, but often went commando. He later confessed it was something in the way. Was it Alcala, Watts, or Gaskin? All the clues are for one killer only, but there are clues that could meet, for two or one other besides the main suspect. Next clue. The killer we are trying to identify had two victims he refused to speak about, other than to say he killed them slowly. Again, the game this killer loved to play was to strangulate the victim until they lost consciousness, and then wait for them to come back, and then strangle them all over again until they lost consciousness again. Eventually, this would take their life. Which one was it? Which killer was it that refused to speak about two of his victims, other than to say he killed them slowly? Good evening, every lady. Welcome to tonight's live stream. I hope you had a terrific week. Next clue. This killer was officially diagnosed with narcissistic personality disorder, borderline personality disorder, and a malignant narcissism with psychopathic and being a sexual sadist. Who was diagnosed with these? Was it Alcala, Watts, or Gatskin? Kitty McKay13, good evening and welcome to tonight's live stream. Next clue. Again, all the clues match to one of these killers, Alcala, Watts, or Gaskin. Next clue is the killer we are here to identify tonight had one of his victims murdered go unsolved for 30 years. It wasn't until 2011 they officially knew that he killed and harmed her. Is it Alcala, Watts, or Gaskin? 30 years the crime went unsolved until 2011. Next clue. One of the ways this killer got rid of evidence was to burn it. He did this with the clothes he wore and evidence he took from the crime scene. Was it Alcala, Watts, or Gaskin? We got Gaskin, Alcala so far, and Watts. Got a little. People are zeroing in on a couple of them, but let's see. Maybe the next clue will make it clear on which one it is. This killer tonight was arrested, released, arrested, and released. He would only escalate his violence after each release. Sounds like an absolute gentleman, right? All three of these men were absolute gentlemen. But this, whoever the suspect is tonight that committed, the killer we're trying to identify, was arrested, released, and escalated his violence after each and every release. So as they kept on arresting him every single time that he got released, he went back out there and did his crimes again, but became more and more and more and more violent as time went on. Next clue. Tonight's killer truly believed he would never be caught because he believed he had committed the perfect murders in hard. Which one was that? Was it Alcala, Watts, or Gaskin? Believed that they would never be caught because they believed that they had committed the perfect murders in hard. Next clue. Tonight's killer was apprehended after his parole officer turned him in, after seeing a sketch of him for a new murder and hard. Yes, I can't say that word. That it's got the 2 stars in it because YouTube has decided that is one of the words that are inappropriate for anything that may be discussed on their platform. And if I wish to keep the monetization for my channel, I've got a list of 6 words that they have already decided I cannot say anymore. All that I would normally say. There are Some people say there's close to 300 different words you can't say on YouTube. I don't know about that, but these 6 words I can't say, and that is one of them. Next clue. The killer we wish to identify tonight confused law enforcement, not because of the brilliance of his crimes. It confused them because no one had caught him already. Was that Alcala, Watts, or Gaskin? Not a brilliant killer. Nothing, was unusual about his crimes that others had already committed or done in the same method. It was just dumbfounding to them when they finally knew that they had a serial killer on their hands, that nobody had caught this person already, because the clues were all over the place. The MO matched every single one of the crimes. Last clue. In 2010, law enforcement released 120 photos of victims they know this killer had harmed, and 900 photos couldn't be released though because they were sexually explicit. Was that Alcala, Watts, or Gaskin? Right, Ivory Lady? It is a good thing we can read between the lines. I see a lot of people complaining online that that YouTube is censoring them. You don't have to. You can turn monetization off of your channel, and you can say whatever the heck you want. They'll age gate it. They'll age gate you and shadow ban your entire channel, but you can say whatever you want. They're just not going to, allow advertisers to place ads against content that they deem inappropriate for their site. And they are not censorship if they are a private company. So, who do you think all of tonight's clues are about? I will give you a couple minutes to think about your answer, or change your answer if you've already guessed one individual. Who do you think it is? Got a lot of people guessing Alcala. I've related going with Pee Wee Gaskin. Just like Pee Wee Herman, Pee Wee Gaskin had his own playhouse too. Gaskin also drove around in a black hearse with a bumper sticker that I can't remember it exactly, but the bumper sticker was something about I bury people for fun, or something to do with like a graveyard like humor bumper sticker. Carl Eugene Watts. All 3 of these men are serial killers, by the way. All 3 of them are. You have 1 minute left. 1 minute left, and then I will reveal the answer to tonight's killer that we were trying to figure out who did it. If you're watching this afterwards, after the live stream, put in the comment section now, who do you think is the killer that we are trying to identify, that all these clues go to? Right, Cart? Good evening. You stay safe out there. I dig graveyards. It was something along those lines, Ivory Lady. Like graveyard humor. But I mean, the bumper sticker was on a hearse, you know, that used to belong to a funeral parlor. But tonight's killer is Rodney Alcala. If you don't remember who Rodney Alcala is, because he's not one of the more famous names, he's not a Bundy, he is not a John Wayne Gacy. He is known as the dating game killer. Yes, in the 1970s, Rodney was on the TV show The Dating Game, and he actually got picked to go out on a date with it. Well, he was on the show and he won the show and was supposed to go out with the lady, but she got creepy vibes from him and never went out on the date with him. I always wondered if anybody followed up later on. They know her name is out there in the public, who she is. Like whatever happened in the 1970s since she was on that show to, what happened to her afterwards. Did I entertain you? If I did, you can go ahead and click that subscribe button down below. It is absolutely free to become a subscriber. If you want to click on the bell icon to be notified of new content, that's totally up to you. But I'm going to be real, unlike everyone else on the internet. I know the bell notification system from YouTube is broken. It does not work all the time. It might notify you, if you click on all, it might notify you half of the time when I put out new content. If you click on notify all, you might get notified of maybe 2 live streams out of 6 I do a month. But that's up to you. But it's totally free to become a subscriber to potentially be notified, of new content. Question for everyone out there in the land who has watched any of my trivia nights. This coming Sunday will be the 367th episode of True Crime Trivia that we play live every Sunday. With only 29.25% of all of my audience, and we're talking 36,000 people on subscribers on YouTube, and close to 100,000 between Twitter, now X, and Facebook. Only 29.2% have ever watched my trivia. And thank you, Gemma. I appreciate that. Should I consider changing the night and the time that I do trivia? Yes, no, maybe if it's Saturday, or D, no opinion on the question. I'll be able to watch and participate on Saturday morning lives before driving, not on Friday evening, so totally understand that, right, Cart? How about Sundays? After you're done driving, maybe. But not Saturdays. YouTube censorship is completely over the top. A simple disclaimer that the channel is over 18 only should be a filter to turn off video discussions, those topics. It's true. All of the live streams, like the one you're watching tonight, and the True Crime Trivia that I do on Sundays, I restrict it to 18 plus. And all the places that I don't just stream to right now to YouTube. I'm streaming to Facebook, Twitter, and to Discord. But I don't know. All the sites have the restrictions the same, but it doesn't matter to YouTube because they're looking at, well, if they don't want to piss off Pepsi or Coca-Cola by placing ads against content that the company finds offensive to them and their brand. I get that from a brand perspective. If I owned a company, I don't want my brand, being placed on a channel that is, talking about, lynching people, or how Mein Kampf was such a great book. I wouldn't want my brand, advertising on that channel. So that is the Killers. The chat is still open. If anybody wants to discuss anything, yes, because I'm always due to church. Oh, please. There's no grammar police here, and if they are, they can go home. Move on to something else. If they're the grammar police, trust me. I half the time I do these things, I look back at it as I'm actually doing it. I'm like, oh, great. Well, at least everything's spelled right this time. I may have missed all of the punctuation, but I'll like start one giant run-on sentence. I do that a lot, and I don't necessarily see it when I'm busy or I'm rushing, but I see it afterwards when I'm doing trivia. And I'm like, what? I couldn't throw a period or a comma in there anywhere. It's life. We're only human. I'm just asking the question, Gemma. If there's a time in a day that would fit better for everyone, which is kind of funny because we do the trivia night. I might get 50, 60 people now. I mean, it's a lot less than it used to be. There was a time when I started the trivia right around maybe about the 200th episode, maybe the 220th episode, somewhere right in there. Viewership went, it just fell off a cliff. I don't know what I did, but I didn't change it that much. Maybe a little visual, change on it, but the questions and the formats have always been the same. But yeah, but I would just get like 200 to 225, watching it, and then now I'm lucky if I get 20, 30 people watching it while it's live, and then 300-400 more afterwards within the next couple of hours afterwards. Are they not getting notifications? Probably a good percentage of them are. I mean, it would be great if I could pull 10% of my viewers to show up for trivia night. I'd be ecstatic. But just the subscribers that are on YouTube. Not complaining though. I'm happy, to do it because I enjoy it. I wouldn't mind 1 hour later than it currently, but not sure if others feel the same way. Good evening, lemon pie. For a trivia on Sunday, instead of starting it, instead of starting at 4, start at 5 p.m. So 5, that would make it 8 o'clock Eastern. That might be something to think about. I'm going to write that down, lemon pie, because I think it's a good idea. I mean, it's a suggestion. 1 hour later, start time for trivia on Sunday, right after the monster truck rally. Sprinkled donut. Good evening, Sprinkled Donut. Hope you had a great week. That would make it 1 a.m. your time. I know, Gemma. That definitely would be because you're in the UK, so it's already midnight starting time for you. You know, I was looking at my analytics, for my channel. I'm rolling over here to grab my sheet. Where is it? No. There it is. Okay, I'm back. One of the largest growing audiences who are people who are watching my YouTube, and particularly the true crime trivia, are people from Australia and New Zealand. It breaks it down by each in a group. It's not like one group like New Zealand and Australia. No, it's the two different countries. But and oddly, there are more men who are watching it in Australia and more women in New Zealand by only a couple of percentage points, but still. Reichardt loves the start time currently for trivia. Trivia is not going anywhere. Out of all the content that I make, trivia has not, I shouldn't say always. There was a period of time where it was a stagnant and it didn't grow and it didn't decline, but it's always, the last I'd say year and a half, trivia has definitely climbed, as in not only the amount of viewers who are watching it, but on interaction as well, which kind of dumbfounds me. I think a lot of people who are interested in taking part in like a pub style, because that's what it's modeled after, like a pub style trivia. Um, and I think a lot of them think, well, I have to log in, or I have to do something in advance, or if I start in the middle, I there's no reason to start because I won't be on the leaderboard. I don't know what it is, but I think a lot of people have that misconception, and that's something I have to keep on reminding myself that I have to tell people in the description of it and during the live stream, itself. You don't have to log in. You don't have to do anything. Just answer in the comment section. Make sure you're on all or live chat, and not, top chat. Well, I wouldn't want to be responsible for Gemma not being able to enjoy it. Well, that's true, but I don't think any one person would be responsible for it. I'm just writing down the ideas. You guys come up with ideas. That's what I write down. That the content for trivia comes from 100% viewer suggestion. All of the trivia is viewer suggestion. Tomorrow night we're playing trivia on Gypsy Rose Blanchard. I'm sorry, on Sunday we're playing on Gypsy Rose Blanchard, and that by far, I think close to a dozen people have suggested it. Everyone from Cement Shoes, Pippa Dot, to, I mean, you name it. If there's somebody you've normally see in trivia night has at some point suggested, like, I write them all down in this little black book of suggestions for trivia night subject matter, and I work on like 3 or 4 different trivia nights at the same time. But again, trivia night, the subject matter is always viewer suggestion. If viewers decide that there is a better time that fits for them or a different day, that I have to listen to it, but I'm not trying to exclude anyone, and not any one person is going to say change, the start time or anything like that. It's just that I've got into a routine because Will knows I go to bed early so I can be up to watch him. Being on the spectrum, my routine is important. That is true. And good evening, Gayla. Good evening, sweetheart. Hello from California. I hope you had a great weekend, week, Gayla. Hope it's not getting too hot down in California. It's getting hot up here in the Pacific Northwest. Your week has been challenging. That's why you're anxious. A little hot here. How about you? Oh, well, Gayla, where I am, it is currently 102 degrees. 102 right now. I, you gotta love the National Weather Service. I'm talking to my sister back east, the other day, and she's like, "Oh, I see that it got up to like 99 degrees there yesterday," and I'm like, "Really? When? In the morning? Because it got a heck of a lot hotter than that." It's like, do they not have weather stations anywhere where I live? I know they do, but obviously no one looks at them, especially not the National Weather Service. They say, "Oh, there's a chance of rain." Where? It ain't raining around here. You almost missed it. Something to talk about? Yeah. Well, we're still here. You can always watch and rewind. 15 clues to one individual. I'll give you 3 suspects, and all of the clues pertain to one suspect. We try to figure out who the killer is. Basically, who done it? It's like playing the game of Clue. Kitty McKay, AZ, Arizona, or no, is that AZ? Is that Arizona or Aussie? I'm terrible at abbreviations. I, first, forgive me. Obviously, I'm a moron, but AZ to me says Arizona. That's what I would think it would be. I would suspect that it's hotter than hell down there right now. It is 92 in Sacramento. But this is the July, end of July, the last week and a half of July, and the month of August is always the hottest time of the year here. I did last week, Broken Justice, and we already played tonight. But the 2 people who said that they wanted to be up and play against each other, neither one of them showed up, and neither one of them replied back to my email. I have to send them, a link so they can come up on panel, because I cannot allow just anyone to do it unless they're on. If I put them on a delay, I can do it that way, or I can embed them, knowing that they know that they have to turn off the actual stream itself. Otherwise you've done this before. You know what I'm talking about. You know, otherwise they'll just hear themselves in loop, you know, through their speakers or headphones. So, you know, and then give them, you know, a basic outline of content of things not to say, you know, a quorum, you know, if you will. Please be respectful, blah blah blah. You know, try to keep, you know, the cursing to a dull roar. But you want to play? You, how about next week? I'll put you on the list for next week. All right. I'm putting you down. I'm writing you actually down by your name because I know who you are. Etiquette. Yeah. Well, not just etiquette, but oh, I don't want to get into that. Let's just say that I had somebody who invited me up on a discussion panel, and I did it, and they made me look like a babbling idiot. First off, their audio sucks, and it made everything that I said sound like this. Everything was slowed way down, and I'm like, what is going on with your system, and why would you even use that footage if the audio is so screwed up? Then they took what I said and they chopped it up into little pieces and used it for YouTube short videos. They weren't interested in really what I had to say. They just wanted to gain traction off of me. Hey, I could use you to, you know, further my, you know, what I want. And Ginger, me and Ginger will do it for you next week. And Ginger. But don't be surprised, ladies and gentlemen, by what I'm saying. The internet is a fun place to be. We all know that there are, you know, creeps out there who will do anything and say anything for their own benefit, to benefit themselves, you know, either enrich themselves, make themselves look more important, lie, you know, and, you know, they'll do anything, con you, you know, even if they're not asking you for your money, they'll con you into a narrative that is, well, it's just a con. And then there are people who, you know, were on the internet. If they're not doing that, will do and say anything that they, you know, trying to go after people they feel they can just tear down for no reason at all. So it's a fun place to hang out. But you have to remember, even all the people you see here, you know, who are all excellent people. Don't get me wrong. Every one of the people who are in the comment section tonight, I love and I enjoy having around. But if you're in a comment section, you know, on a live stream, you know, and you're talking with people, you don't know who they are in real life. You don't know, just because they're identifying, you know, on the screen as Mary Sampson. You don't know if Mary Sampson's even a real person. It could be, you know, a 70-year-old, you know, pervert, you know, who's sitting around, you know, just enjoying screwing with people because he has nothing to do with him, you know, his life. Or he could be, you know, an 18-year-old, you know, kid sitting in his mother's basement eating Cheetos and feeling that, you know, if they identify themselves as Detective Swanson, that, you know, people will believe them. You don't know who they are. And that's the sad truth about the internet. And just because you see them today, as Detective Swanson, and if people call them out on their shit enough, they don't believe them that they're a detective. So tomorrow they're you know Doctor Swanson. Oh yeah. Thank you, everyone. But my point is though, we don't know who anyone really is. We don't know anyone's story out there. I've met some great people on the internet. I've made lifelong friends, and people that are not only friends, but people I consider to be members of my own family, like Gemma. We consider her, to be a member of our extended family because I know who she is and I know her pretty much most of her story, of life and how she got to where she is today. But at the same time, some people they hide behind a story and a facade, and they're not even the person that they say they are. And I've met some of those people too. It's sad. Oh yeah, the same as her screen name right here, Bonnie. Gemma's Journey Grace on YouTube. And it's only gonna get worse. Kitty McKay, 13, it's only gonna get worse. Just think about the generation of the preteens that are growing up now and the younger kids behind them. What will the internet be like when they become adults? Will we have a chip in our head that's already implanted and all you got to do is go touch it, and everywhere around you is a virtual reality and you can interact with that virtual reality, and then everybody can identify as what they want to be in their interactive world? I don't know. But the way that leaps and bounds of the internet is going, and AI, you don't know. I mean, I know I have bots that comment on the same videos day in, I shouldn't say day in, day out, but every single week they comment the same way on certain videos, and I see it all the time. They have to be a bot because not even somebody with who English is a second language, it doesn't compute. Oh, you're okay, sweetheart. There's no reason to apologize. You really appreciate the way that have supported me and defending me. I see you and Crystal as my family too. I've had hard on here. I know you have, and a lot of cruel individuals out there, and you know that as well. And it's hard to just say, and just shake it off. Don't let it bother you. But that's what they want, and I can't stress that enough. There are people out there that all they want to do is just cause mayhem. They want to know that they got to you and that they upset you, and or they got you to quit doing what you enjoy doing. Oh yeah, well, we've all been there before. We've been there before, and it's only going to get worse. With AI taking over and the AI revolution, or evolution, whichever you want to how you want to look at it. Yeah, am I here right now? Am I talking to you, or am I an AI generated image? That I've seen some AI recently that you could not tell in a video that it was made by and that was AI generated. It looked like a real person, and I'm like, what? And then they tell you at the end, You know, like they give you 3 examples. It's like one of these is AI, one of them is real, and one of them, you know, is somebody, you know, in a disguise and they pull off the mask. I thought for sure I spotted the, you know, the one with the mask. It turns out that was the real person. And the I was like, no way. I thought that, you know, that can't be. I watch it and I watch it again and again, and it's like that damn, you know, convincing. Now, for all you people out there with your heads in the sand, and you know who you are, who are, you know, hard entrenched into politics. My color in my person is the best. Those people who, you know, vote down the party line 100%. Either or, I don't care. You got your head in a hole in the sand. They're making AI videos right now today that look so real. They sound just like the individual that you know and love and support and will wear their hat for or do whatever they want. They have videos out there right now. Now imagine where the next election cycle is going to go. Tomorrow morning, you see Kamala Harris up on stage and she looks over and she lets off a, you know, a homophobic, you know, rant at some guy next to the stage. Did she do it? Or was it AI generated? Ask yourself that. Or you see Donald Trump call, you know, veterans, you know, suckers. You know, oh wait a minute, no, he actually said that. Um, I think of another example of something he hasn't said. Um, Donald Trump tomorrow says that Jeffrey Epstein is his best friend, you know, and he, you know, likes to hang out with him. No, he said that too. Shit. Um, you get my point, though. I mean, they can make an AI video that looks 100% real, and you can't tell. And all you gotta do is clip it down into, you know, and then it takes like somebody to sit there and go through it, you know, bit by bit, the actual frame itself to look at to see if it's AI generated. You have to really look for it, you know, little tiny nuances. Sometimes, you know, like the older AIs, like people would show up with like 6 fingers, you know, or they'd be missing an entire ear, you know, or something like that. In the older AI, not anymore. The thing is, it's constantly, you know, at a click rate that is so fast. It's learning so fast right now. It's like what the I don't know if you guys know what Chat GPT is, but it's an AI language model. That's how it started off, but it can do so much more now. But when they realized that Chat GPT was having hallucinations, and it was making up fake references and stuff like that to, you know, questions that was asked of it. They tried to delete it and replace it with the next version. Chat GPT, when they went in to try to delete the old version and install the newest version, the old version started leaving footprints and cookie crumbs on the internet, so it could never be deleted. Think about that. It's thinking for itself, and it's self-protecting itself from being ever deleted. Here's your master program of the Chat GPT. They try to delete that and replace it with another one that was going to fix the problem it was having. This left cookie crumbs all over the internet so it could restore itself once the deletion was done. You all wonder why Reichardt hates AI. I mean, there are people out there in industries, you know, that are scared to death what's going to happen in coming down the line. Not just politics. It can be anything. It could be, you know, tomorrow afternoon, you get a phone call. Hey, Grandma. Yeah, I hate to call you and bother you, but I just got into a car accident and I'm stranded alongside the freeway. Is there any way you can, you know, let me use your debit card or credit card so I can get the repairs done on the car. I'll pay you back as soon as I get home. I promise. And 100% of that call, it sounds just like your nephew or your granddaughter. They don't even have to try to fool somebody with the dementia anymore. Or maybe they do it with FaceTime and you're looking right at them, and it's all AI. That's scary shit, and that's where the world's going, because we decided to unleash this little devil on ourselves. We did it all for the matter of the big dollar. You and Duty Ron have been instrumental in my YouTube channel and in journey. You guys have never given up on me and always stood by me when I've wanted to quit. Well, sweetheart, because we love you. Me and Ron, Duty Ron, we believe in you, and we believe that you have a voice just like everyone else. You deserve to be on this platform and on every other platform. Just because you may not look or act or do or say the things, that, out of a cookie cutter, stamped out, doesn't mean that your voice, your thoughts, your emotions are not real. You have just as much right to this space as I do. Your husband is a computer scientist, and he was saying just how powerful AI is becoming. It's gathering more and more information about us, potentially very dangerous. Oh, yeah. I mean, I don't want people to go, unplug their computer, and run off to the mountains. Please hit the subscribe button before you do, though, if you decide to do that. Subscribe, turn on the bell notification, give this video a thumbs up, and then unplug it and run for the mountains. Yeah, I'm not saying I want people to do that. I'm just saying that somebody has got to start reining in this, this AI and what's coming down the pipe. If we don't, I don't see where's society going to be in 100 years from now. Will there be a society? Will we have destroyed this planet and ourselves to the point where there's no chance for anyone in 100 years from now? Look back. This is 2025 right now. What was life like, 100 years ago? What did people think about and dream about 100 years ago? Those things, those things are gone. Yeah, no, friendship and family is something I really understand, and you have taught me a lot, and I've just achieved 5,800 friends. Congratulations. Never, if Gayla says it best right there, never change and never quit. Just keep on putting that, the next foot in front of yourself, but always look out for your blind side. Be wary of who you place your trust in. To me, trust is earned. You get a level of respect and trust when I first meet you, but a lot of people have shown their true colors over the years on the internet. But hey, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to wrap up tonight's Killers, the Killers, as it's called now, and I hope that everyone will stop in on Sunday. That's at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for trivia, 5 o'clock Mountain, 6 o'clock Central, 7 o'clock Eastern, 12 midnight in the UK. I don't know what time it is. I should probably look that up to see what time that is in Australia and New Zealand, since again, the largest growing subscriber base that I have is in New Zealand and Australia, which is kind of cool. Well, I wonder if they're fans of Viva La Dirt League. If you want to watch, content that's from Australia, New Zealand, Viva La Dirt League. They do like sketch comedy and stuff like that. It's funny. It's funny to me. It's kind of like Monty Python, that dry kind of comedy. You know, people say it's dry comedy. I don't think it's dry, but whatever. Um, but it's like that. But a group of friends in Australia, they do like 4 or 5 different things. One's like they live, you know, in a small fishing village. Another one's there in other skits. They work in a tech store selling computers and stuff like that. You probably wouldn't be interested in that, but more of like the gameplay where they replay like video games. And they do a lot of stuff, but they're called Viva La Dirt League. But anyways, I hope that everyone can, you know, stop in on Sunday for trivia. Again, it's on Gypsy Rose Blanchard. We're taking a look at and answering 20 questions about her. But until then, everyone, you have a great night and stay safe out there on the roads of America, Reichart. Remember, as Purple always says, you never know who's going to be standing next to you next, and you never know who's going to be knocking at your door. Bye.